Two kings of darkness, Muzan Kibutsuchi, the progenitor of demons, an immortal nightmare whose blood spawns legions, and whose body adapts to every single threat, and Ryomen Sukuna, the king of curses, the strongest sorcerer in history, whose mastery of cursed energy and domain expansion makes him feared even by the most powerful Jujutsu sorcerers. Both stand as the apex of their respective universes, but if they were to clash, who do you think would truly reign supreme? Starting off with Muzan Kibutsuchi, in terms of forms and adaptability, his biology is the epitome of survival. He's manifested countless forms, his original body, the monstrous Sengoku form used in his final battle, the Geisha disguise to mask his presence, and even a child form to evade detection. Each transformation refines his control over his cells, a perfect weaponized immortality. His defining trait is adaptation. Every encounter, every injury becomes fuel for evolution. For his feats and abilities, he has regeneration, so Muzan's healing is nearly instantaneous, bordering on the divine. He regenerated dozens of limbs and organs while fighting multiple Hashira simultaneously, even full decapitation. Instant death for most demons meant nothing. He only truly perished when the sun reached him. He once survived the Uboyashiki mansion explosion, which was a multi-city block level blast laced with Nichirin shrapnel designed specifically to kill demons, but despite being shredded and partially vaporized, Muzan reconstituted himself moments later, showcasing regeneration that borders on cellular resurrection. Now for his blood demon art in his Sengoku era, Muzan unleashed hundreds of whip-like appendages with devastating precision. It was an attack capable of overwhelming Gyome, Sanemi, and Obanai all at the same time. These tendrils tore through concrete, steel, and collapsing structures effortlessly. Even his aura is lethal. Muzan's blood and presence paralyzes his foes. A single injection of his essence can annihilate weaker demons instantly by cellular overload. For his strength, Muzan physically overpowered multiple Hashira simultaneously, tanking their combined strikes, encountering with force strong enough to obliterate buildings. In close combat, he repeatedly sent Gyome, the physically strongest human, flying with single blows. For speed, he again repeatedly blitzes Hashira. These are elite warriors with superhuman reflexes, striking faster than coordinated group assaults. His speed borders on hypersonic, making him one of the fastest beings in the Demon Slayer universe. For durability, Muzan survived being dismembered, burned, and crushed for hours before his final death. His only true weakness remains the sun itself. For stamina, his stamina seems to be almost limitless. Muzan can fight an eternity without exhaustion, as his body produces energy through demonic metabolism rather than oxygen or nutrients. And for scaling, his combined feats place him at city block to small city level in attack potency, hypersonic, and speed, and effectively immortal under the moonlight. For Ryomen Sukuna, or Sukuna, forms and evolution. So Sukuna's power evolves through vessels and centuries, from inhabiting Yuji Itadori to fully seizing Megami's body, and ultimately manifesting his Heian era form. I think it's pretty interesting that they're both from the Heian era, first of all. Every transformation multiplies his cursed arsenal. At his peak, he was a one-man apocalypse, a man able to be on par with the strongest modern sorcerer, Satoru Gojo. For feats and abilities, he has Dismantle and Cleave. It's a signature technique. It's a slice of not just the flesh, but the concept of resistance itself and reality itself. Cleave adapts in real time to the target's toughness, while Dismantle erases anything not reinforced by cursed energy. His slashes bisected special grade curses and Gojo's constructs as if they were paper. He has a domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine, a 200-meter barrierless domain that attacks continuously and without restriction. Every object within its radius is shredded by constant slashing forces. Sukuna evolved Divine Flame, which turns this domain into a thermobaric cursed explosion, igniting cursed energy particles into a chain reaction that vaporized entire city sectors, comparable to large town to small city level destruction. He has the 10 Shadows technique in Megami's body, and he's shown complete mastery of the 10 Shinigami, most notably Nue, which generates lightning and paralyzing aerial bombardments, Max Elephant, which unleashes compressed torrents of water, hitting like piercing artillery, Piercing Ox, which gains momentum based attack with each charge, Round Deer, which heals Sukuna's wounds and neutralizes enemy techniques, and last but not least, the Divine General Maharaga, with the ability to adapt to any attack, including Gojo's Infinity, and once adapted, by turning the wheels on his head, Maharaga becomes effectively invincible to that attack. Honestly, Maharaga himself is just as much of a threat as Sukuna is in this fight. So in terms of his thermobaric explosion scaling, the Divine Flame's blast dwarfs the Ubuyashiki mansion explosion, producing at least 10 times the destructive energy while covering a vastly greater area. Its cursed energy ignition effectively vaporizes even even regenerating beings on impact. For durability and stamina, Sukuna endured multiple domain expansions and direct hits from Gojo, fighting for days with minimal fatigue. His cursed energy reserves are astronomical. He can battle non-stop for 2 days at peak output before even the signs of depletion. For intelligence and strategy, he deduced the mechanics of Gojo's infinity mid-fight, developed countermeasures to adaptation in his fight with Maharaga, and weaponized the 10 shadows beyond Megami's limits, who is the person who had it before him and it was the primary user. Sukuna is as cunning as he is destructive. For scaling at full power, Sukuna's destructive potential is small city level with supersonic to hypersonic plus level combat speed, matching and countering Gojo, whose reactions surpass Toji Fushiguro's and awakened heavily restricted users. Now, in terms of our analysis, let's start out with speed. Muzan blitzed Hashira with ease, but Sukuna traded blows to Gojo for 15 chapters, a sorcerer described as the fastest alive. He kept pace with heavenly restriction users like Toji and Maki, who are considered supersonic plus, and even fought them evenly for a time frame. In-universe narration pegs most JJK fighters as Mach 3, with Gojo and Sukuna exceeding it, and Muzan's speed is terrifying, but Sukuna's combat reactions operate on another level, another layer, spatial cuts that ignore distance itself. So the verdict for this one, we have a slight advantage for Sukuna. For the attack potency, Muzan's whipped tendrils decimated the battlefield and leveled structures, yet Sukuna's divine flame vaporized part of Shinjuku in one blast. A thermobaric explosion on par with modern ordnance, amplified by cursed energy. Muzan's city block feats are dwarfed by Sukuna's domain-wide devastation. The verdict for this one is very clear, it's Sukuna. Now, for durability and healing, Muzan's regeneration outpaces any in Demon Slayer, but Sukuna's space-severing cleave erases matter beyond biological restoration. Even if Muzan can reform limbs, there's no recovery from existence erasure. Conversely, Sukuna's cursed energy and Round Deer's healing kept him alive through near fatal damage, and obviously he has his reverse cursed energy technique. He can also heal himself near instantly. So the verdict here, unfortunately, is still Sukuna, unfortunately for Muzan. Now, in terms of versatility, Muzan's arsenal is biological. Their whips, poisons, cells, and shapeshifting. Sukuna's, by contrast, is elemental and conceptual. Slashes, fire, lightning, water, healing, summons, gravity, and domain control. He can adapt through Maharaga, self-heal, and control multiple Shikigami simultaneously, so overwhelmingly the verdict here is Sukuna. The only way that Muzan will be able to keep up in terms of versatility is if he's able to take in a bunch of demons in him with this fight, while Sukuna has his Shikigami, because it's shown that the other demons have other abilities that Muzan does not, which could be significantly useful and show a lot of versatility, especially when he has the upper moons with him. Now, in terms of immortality and win conditions, Muzan's immortality is absolute, unless exposed to sunlight. Sukuna's best route to victory is outlasting until dawn or deploying a divine flame to disintegrate Muzan beyond cellular regeneration, which is honestly not outside of the realm of possibility. The thermobaric cursed blast could theoretically vaporize every demon cell if Muzan isn't in his baby form, which grants brief solar resistance. Conversely, Muzan's poison blood could potentially kill Sukuna. It's not really certain, but only after prolonged contact, and that's honestly being very generous to Muzan, to be honest. Sukuna's resistance to lethal toxins established through Yuji's immunity gives him resistance, not full immunity, meaning that in a long-term fight, Muzan could theoretically infect him. However, closing the distance between Malevolence Shrine's 200-meter kill zone would be nearly impossible. So the conclusion is that early Sukuna versus original Muzan might be a close match. Muzan's regeneration and whip range would pressure early Sukuna, forcing him to pace himself. Dismantle and cleave could damage Muzan, but regeneration would still stall a fight. That would probably be the closest fight period between Sukuna and Muzan. That's the most Muzan to stand a chance. With 15 and 16 fingers Sukuna versus Sengoku Prime Muzan, that tips the scale heavily. Malevolent Shrine bypasses regeneration entirely, pretty much. Divine Flame vaporizes matter, and Maharaga can adapt to Muzan's poison. So if Sukuna assumes Maharaga's burden of adaptation, he can immunize his Shikigami against Muzan's blood and tendrils, effectively creating an immortal counterforce. While Muzan is faster, he lacks the range and variety to overcome multiple Shikigami at once, healing and constant slashing. I don't know if you guys have seen the fight between Sukuna and Gojo, but like, Muzan would have to basically do better than Gojo, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't see Muzan doing even close to how good Gojo did in that fight, and that wasn't even true form Sukuna. And now, on the topic of true form Sukuna versus any form of Muzan, once Sukuna reaches his his Heian era peak, it's not close. His existence severing slashes, domain scale thermobaric detonation, and supreme stamina turns Muzan's regeneration obsolete. The only reason Sukuna doesn't dominate outright is because of the sunrise. In a 6-hour battle from midnight to dawn, Sukuna wins 6. Honestly, Sukuna would win like 10 out of 10 times, let's just be real here. I was gonna give Muzan the benefit of the doubt, but like honestly, Sukuna's definitely winning. In perpetual darkness, like the Infinity Castle, Muzan might be able to push it a little bit more because he can just keep regenerating. But you know, if Sukuna is able to vaporize Muzan, then it's possibly a win. Almost like what he did with Maharaga. If he just one-shots him, he can definitely win. But again, in any neutral-based setting, Sukuna's curse versatility, scaling, and adaptability makes him the true king of curses, honestly king of demons at this point. I think that even if you were to add all of the 12 upper moons as well, none of them are really going to even touch Sukuna. The most I can see somebody doing something is Hantengu, if he can hide his main body. But again, nobody's regeneration is like Sukuna's, and Sukuna would be able to easily, you know, take the heads of each of the upper moons. So honestly, I would say 9 out of 10 times, just to be generous, Sukuna has this one in the bag. If you guys like more videos like this, do me a huge favor and like, comment, subscribe, as well as checking out our Discord server, Anime Culture, and I'll catch you in the next one.